Howdy and welcome to the first episode of Tales of the Meta. My name is Michael Lemke.
Justin Shaft.
And I am a puppy enthusiast. So we will definitely be talking about puppies, but we're also going to talk about everything Lorcana. Now, I've been playing since the beginning, not competitively like Justin, but I've been playing puppies, and I do actually own over 99 now copies of the full Dalmatian.
That's why everyone's here.
Yep, you're super proud of me. Maybe next week, maybe one week, if you want me to bring it out, I can bring out all full 99 plus foils that I have. But with me, we do have Justin Shaft, and he is a professional Lorcana player.
I wouldn't necessarily say professional. I wouldn't go that far. But
close enough.
But, yeah, I did a top 16 DLC Seattle, top 16 Continentals. Unfortunately, didn't get my Worlds invite. Lost that big match. Yep. Good job,
close. You were one match away.
One match away, yeah.
Yep.
One game away, one lore away even. But.
Oh, the one lore, I don't know. Well, first, we want to talk about some decks that we're going to be seeing in the meta. I know that you've been talking about one, but I will tell you, I think there's a Boogeyman.
I think we all think there's a Boogeyman, at least right now.
That one deck that is just going to take over the meta. A puppy deck. The puppies are going to take over the meta, right?
No, I don't think so.
No? It's not. Boogeyman's not puppies?
Can you pull up the card that kills Diablo effectively in that list?
Okay, fine. Can I talk about one puppy before we move on?
Yeah, do I have a choice?
Not really. I am in charge. No, I'm not really in charge. But yes, we're going to talk about one puppy in particular. Patch. This is, I've been saying it since the last set, that puppies to be effective needs a 1-drop. We got our 1-drop. Quest for 2, it has Ward. It's good against Steel Song, good against Diablo, good against anything Steel. I mean, come on. What more could you want? I
did tell you last format that they were one drop short. I think now we're seeing that I was wrong.
I disagree. So you will have to comment like below if you like puppies. We will continue talking about puppies later. Despite what Shaft thinks, we will talk about puppies. But in all seriousness, Shaft, you do want to talk about
the Boogeyman. The one that we're all afraid of, right? Last format, it was blue steel. This format, I think everyone agrees that it is green steel.
Mm-hmm.
They added one card, so I don't know how I feel. I don't know if this is the Boogeyman or not. They added Beyond the Horizon.
Choose any number of players. They discard their hand and draw 3 cards. So you can use this to either discard your opponent who has a ton of cards. You can use it to retool yourself. There's just a lot of options with this one.
See, the thing is about this card, though, is it's another uninkable in the green steel deck. I don't know if this card is going to be what pushes it over the top. If you were to ask me before this set came out, do we think a 7-drop uninkable song is going to be the thing that pushes them over the top? No, I would not. Does it make their nut draws better? Yes, absolutely. Does it make it, like, if you lose the dice roll against green steel, it's not going to feel good. But the one thing about green steel is we've always been able to hate them out, right? We could play enough Diablo answers, but as it does get Beyond the Horizon, is this now a Diablo deck? Is this more of a Prince John deck? Each tool that we get to discard, it kind of becomes closer and closer to becoming a John deck, as opposed to a just a Diablo deck. It used to, like in Dallas Fort Worth, it was Bucky into Diablo. Diablo was the issue. If they have Diablo, the game's over. But now, who knows?
I think that's what a lot of people are going to be doing throughout this next 2.5-3 months, is that they're going to be wanting Prince John banned. I think that that's going to be one of the kind of movements that we see, is that, okay, was Bucky the problem? Was anything else? Was Diablo the problem? Prince John might have been the problem. Like,
absolutely.
So I think that we're going to see people try to ban that. I don't know if that's really an effective use.
Especially with rotation coming up, right? Mm-hmm. Do we think that they're going to ban anything regardless of how? There's only really one tournament that's going to matter this set.
True.
And we'll see how that ends up going. I don't see them banning anything this set. But there are, like I said, green steel can be beat by a lot of things. There's a lot of natural things. Blurple. Blurple decks made the top 8 of the Southside Gaming this week, but there were like 4 in top 16. They all just barely missed the cut.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. So what are we seeing? So Blurple did have a resurgence at the end of last set, right? So what are we seeing? What are people changing about it this set that you think that it could actually be one of those top decks?
Well, different than green steel. If you had asked me last set, what do I think this deck needs? I would have probably told you they would like a Strength of the Raging Fire and maybe some way to wipe the board to create tempo or gain tempo back whenever you lose it. The hardest thing with Blurple is if they get ahead on the board, how do you win?
Yeah.
Well, most of the time you don't.
Right, because the whole counter of Blurple has always been go wide, right? Like you don't have enough answers, right? Like Elsa's great, Belle's great, Hades is great, but they're really only one target answers.
Right. Yep.
And so I think you're exactly right. Having this what we're going to talk about Monstro, right? Monstro getting to wipe the board.
Yeah, this card is no be prepared, but it is close. There are some boards where you're going to be able to keep your board, kill 3 or 4 of their creatures, and similar to Scar in red, but this card's inkable. Now, it does cost 8, but this deck is very, cards don't matter, right? You're going to have 8 cards in your hand. You're going to be able to just basically wipe out all their exerted creatures. You have Popsicle to heal it. There are going to be some crazy boards that you're just able to wipe that Blurple, against Steel Song, would never be able to come back from.
And the 6 attack is so much. I mean, there's just... Is there anything other than another Monstro that it really can't kill? I mean, even in the mirror, it kills Hades.
And this card just one-man Wrecking Crew's locations, too. This card just, better than Scar ever.
All you have to do is discard 1, right? Yeah. So you only have to have 1 extra card in hand if you're stuck against the wall, against that McDuck Manor, against that library, against Diggy Hole. I mean, it just kills Diggy in one shot. You don't even need to discard. Yeah. Yep. And so I think that, this is really one of those answers for Blurple that they really like. And I think that you're high on another card.
Kind of last form to the unknown.
Yes.
Absolutely. Similar to Strength of the Raging Fire, it's not quite that, but it is close. There are some boards where it's going to be just as good. Against Steel Song particularly, you're able to actually catch up. Your 3 creatures are able to kind of, now that you have a full hand, you're able to kind of answer their singers sometimes after they've sang songs, which is the main issue with Blue-Purple. So I'm super excited about how this deck progresses. It also has the natural curve to deal with Diablo, right? It goes Peter Pan, Genie, Elsa, all these cards, Iago, they're all naturally in the deck. They're all naturally able to answer Diablo. So if green steals too much of a Diablo deck, again, it should be able to answer it.
Yeah, I mean, you love the evasives in this. I mean, Elsa into a Diablo, especially if you're ramping. I mean, Diablo gets to draw 2 cards?
Yeah, maybe.
Which, okay, against Blurple, what do you care if they draw 2 cards?
And that's against their best draws, right?
Yep.
They're having to discard an action. Then if they're on the draw, they're only getting 1, maybe 2 cards, and that's only if it's being shifted on 2. The rest of the game, you're kind of going to have an evasive threat out there being able to answer these Diablos to make them not matter.
And that's why I think I do like Blurple as a deck going into the meta that we're going to be in, because it kind of goes against 2 of the biggest decks that I think are going to be out there, which is Steel Song and then this
Green Steel
Boogeyman.
But Beyond the Horizon is going to be a house against Blurple. That is one thing that's true. This deck always has 6 cards in hand. Finders Keepers probably won't be a playable card anymore.
But I also think that it's really not that bad, right? Because if you give Blurple 3 cards, I mean, that should be enough to kind of draw. But you're right. You want 6.
You have 6 cards in your hand, and if you wasted an entire turn playing Finders Keepers, then they just basically undo everything that you did. It's kind of sick.
So I touched on it a little bit. I think there's one more big deck that you want to talk about that did fairly well this weekend, right? And that is Wochuk on his 9th place Steel Song.
Yeah, he went X1-1. He drew with Bivens in round 5, so really he went X1. They ID'd. They're good friends, I guess. Wochuk, one of the best deck builders in the game. If the new format comes out, you always kind of want to see what Wochuk's doing. He piloted this deck with Rhino. Rhino's the new card, the 1 cost and the 4 cost shift 2.
This one. So what it does is, while this character has no damage, it gains resist 2, which in a steel heavy meta, resist just goes above and beyond in power.
Absolutely.
And so resist 2 is even better. And then shift 2, so it can sing any of your songs on turn 2. And then you can also that 4/3 4 attack. That's one of those kind of breakpoints that can kill a whole bunch of stuff. Banish. My bad. No one report me. Banish.
Murder.
Yeah, right. I only get it getting twisted when it's puppies. You banish puppies. You never kill puppies.
Yeah.
But I think this card is going to be really good in the meta.
Especially post-rotation. I just get so excited when I look at this card. You think about Maui, you think about Zeus. All the cards that actually do kind of handle this card well, all are rotating. But this deck is so good, man. I really think that this, this whatever Diggy we want to call it, Diggy-less Diggy.
Is it Diggy? So I mean, is it
Amber Steel Aggro? I guess is what we should call it.
Diggy Hole was based off of Seven Dwarfs Mine, right?
Right, correct.
So that was the whole point. You dig it right in the mine. So I don't. What are we gonna call it?
I guess it's just Amber Steel Aggro. But
the Rhino kind of looks like a woodchuck, and we're seeing Wochucks. So like Rhino Chuck. I don't know. Can we put Chuck in there somehow? We need Wochuk to name it. Is what we'll have to do.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
But Lady, I'm sure one of the cards that you're super excited to talk about is also in this list.
I am, and you'll be surprised to know it's because of Steel Song. Just kidding, guys. This is so good in the puppy deck. The puppy deck needs Lady, and it got Lady. What more to bring out the 1-drop patch?
Yeah, I always say the best cards in the puppy deck are the cards that are not puppies. I always say that.
That's not true. We'll talk about Rolly another time. I'm high on Rolly. I think that's going to be a good one. But this lady, in all seriousness, in all the decks that it's in, I think are really good.
Yeah, absolutely. The amount of tempo that you're able to gain just by, like, if you have 2 cards in hand, you're able to play Lady, play Doc. That's just such an insane tempo swing. You're putting so much lore on the board while being able to refill. Playing this in a Piglet, the amount of combos this card has, it's just crazy.
And I think a lot of people last set were getting really high on Just in Time, which was essentially taking 3 ink and turning it into 5 ink. And this card essentially does the same thing with 2 lower strength cards, right? So a 3-drop and a 2-drop, but that's 5 ink, right? That's turning your turn 3 into a 5 ink turn,
absolutely.
Which I think is always kind of nice when you can play or use more ink.
And whenever you'd expect to see like a card like this, you wouldn't expect it to be like you. If you were to ask me if this card should quest for 2, I would say no. I think this card's super pushed, which is kind of not true with a lot of the new cards we've been seeing, right? And saying that a card is pushed means a lot these days.
Yeah, and I think it's just the 2 questing, especially on turn 3, if you have some other stuff out, maybe some daisies, Cinderellas, troubadours, anything like that, like with no matter what deck you're playing. I mean, it increases and puts a clock on the other person that they either have to deal with this stuff or kind of lose.
I've been playing some games with this deck, and just going on the Forbidden server, Daisy into Piglet into Lady Piglet is just absolute. Like, how do you on the draw? What do you do? You can't do anything.
So something I want to ask you about when I saw this deck is one Rapunzel. What's going on? So, because I think Rapunzel is one of the strongest cards in the game, right?
Absolutely.
So, is just 4 docs enough draw power to only need one Rapunzel? Or are you trying to get rid of your cards and win before you need Rapunzel? What's kind of the thought process there?
I think Wochuk's idea was you just don't want to even take the game that long, right?
Cool.
You want to kind of just get them dead. You want to get to 20 lore super fast, and you kind of don't want to get into these like board stalls where Rapunzel would normally be good.
Okay.
You kind of just want to end the game. And also, without being open deckless or anything like that, people are still playing around Rapunzel. So at least while you have, it's not known that you're not playing Rapunzels. It's almost like people respect the Rapunzel. Tournaments, these 80-player tournaments like Southside Gaming, it's a bunch of good players that are all going to be still playing around the Rapunzel.
Oh, yeah. Even if you only have 1, they're still going to play around it.
Even if you have 0.
Right.
Yeah, they don't know, right?
Right.
So, yeah, this deck is just so much faster than it was last format because of the Lady, because of these Rhinos. Really, these Rhinos are actually really good. The 1-drop, it shrinks them until the next turn, which really does a lot on some boards too.
Oh, yeah. I do like that 1-drop.
Yeah.
A lot, especially just for a 1-drop. It really helps, especially on the draw.
Absolutely.
Which was this deck's kind of weakness, right? On the draw was kind of you were just behind a little bit. Without
there's
the
one more
aerials.
deck I think we want to talk about. The last, couple of years formats, Boogeyman. Jonathan Williams got 15th place at the SG. He had a feature match round 2 that he played Bivens. And Bivens kind of just opened the nuts. Sometimes you can't beat the evasive deck. But a couple of the tools, not necessarily new cards, but I think Maui's Fishhook really has a place right now.
It really does with so many evasives, and then also just the added attack just in case.
Right.
I think especially against some of the more aggro decks or just things that have more willpower, the Maui's Fishhook is just kind of good.
Yeah, absolutely. Sisu being one of the only answers to Prince John, that and grab your swords. But this deck always is solid, super good. Jonathan Williams, obviously a great player. Super interested to see what we're going to see in the format going forward.
Yeah, definitely. If I'm thinking red-blue, I'm definitely thinking Jonathan Williams and DKP, right? Yep. So I'm interested to see what both of those guys do with their decks before. I think people are going to kind of declare this deck dead, but I think they're not, and they're going to continue it on. I think it can still be strong and still have its niche in different.
If Green Steel and Discard are going to be super good decks, Greatstone's going to just skyrocket in popularity. That card's obviously super good against the decks that are trying to discard your hand because you just get to play ink from them, things like that.
Oh, yeah. And I think, it has Diablo answers, which is kind of one of the most important things in this meta.
Prince John answers too.
And Prince John answers too.
I don't know about the Be Prepareds. I think I saw him talking about on Twitter that he probably wouldn't have played the Be Prepareds. The Be Prepareds are just such a big liability right now. Being an uninkable song against the Ursulas. How far it'll go is barely good enough, but I think it just is so powerful that you have to play it. But
yeah, because I think if you have both in your hand, they really have to make a choice.
Absolutely.
On what they're going to do. And they can look at your other cards and see what's going on, but it's a decision that they have to make.
Yeah.
Because they both kind of put a clock on them.
Yep.
So I think you alluded to it earlier. This one was at Southside Gaming, which runs phenomenal tournaments. I know that you've been to a tournament or two there. tops tournament or two there.
Tournament, yeah.
One. Oh, sorry, one. Okay. Because he didn't play puppies. If he played puppies, he would have had the other one, right? Right? No. Okay. We'll get him to play puppies eventually. Wait, hold on. Before we move on, we're gonna talk about some tournaments, some all that stuff. I do want to tell just a quick story. So puppies, I did play puppies last set. I topped with puppies. I got the enchanted card with puppies.
You topped or you made top 8?
I made top 8, so I was 5th out of 16.
Yeah, they cut to top 4, right?
Nah, then I did not make top 4. They did cut to top 4, so I guess I didn't make top cut.
Yeah.
You're right. I still got the card. Semantics, right? I mean, it's puppies. It is what it is. But before the Hiram ban, and I don't know if Shaft knows I'm going to tell a story, but before the Hiram ban, Shaft they'd figured out the market, or figured out the meta, and the Oswald decks were just rampant, right? Well, Shaft had gone undefeated at our locals, and for anybody else to have a shot to tie him for first, I had to beat him. And I was playing puppies. And so Shaft was on the play first, and I beat him. So I beat a pro with puppies while the pro was on the play. Which,
how did game 2 and game 3 go?
That's not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? Like he lost to puppies while on the play. So since then, that's when he told me that I needed one more 1-drop. He's rescinded that. We have not played with puppies since. Mm-hmm. But I think there was a bounty that if I beat him with puppies again, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll make him do something funny on here.
Yeah, maybe.
That would be funny. But talking about tournaments, more serious stuff, more competitive stuff. Southside Gaming, they just had theirs last weekend. I know that upcoming, you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, World Class Cards, which is my team sponsor. Super great guy, Robert, runs this organization. World Class Cards is doing a $10,000 guaranteed. I come from poker, so I say guarantee. World $10,000 tournament.
Weekend?
Yep. 5K on Saturday and then a 5K on Sunday. They are doing the Worlds format.
Ooh, yeah, it's a World format. So we're not going to dive too much in the Worlds format. They're doing half of it. So what's the day 2, which is the 3 decks. So you have one. You can only use each color once.
One ink color each time.
Yep.
So yeah.
But we're going to dive a little bit into that next week, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
maybe recapping this tournament. Actually.
Yeah, I think that's probably what we'll do. Recap this, see kind of what the options were, what people were playing. Are they going to do where you ban one?
Yeah, they're doing the exact same thing that they're doing at Worlds. So, yeah, Kendall, really J-Bomb going to be up there. I don't think the Worlds guys are going to be up there, but it should be super fun to watch.
And then is 20 Lore Pro there streaming it?
Yeah, 20 Lore Pro is going to be there. They're super good at that stuff. I'm sure the coverage will be great.
Awesome. So, yeah, I'll be watching it. I know a lot of people will be watching it. They do really good tournaments up there. I really enjoyed the last one that they did on both days.
Yeah. There's a bunch of other third-party stuff going on this month. We're going to try to cover that. I know it's kind of hard to find it in one spot, so we're going to try to have this stuff on the end of our podcast so you could see all the third party. Hopefully at the end of the month we're going to get some DLCs, but
hopefully I think I heard rumors. I don't know if when they're going to announce them, but hopefully before the end of the month.
Hopefully at Worlds we'll see.
Hopefully at Worlds, I don't know. But there is another tournament out in Louisville, Kentucky. It's going to be Saturday, June 7th. It is a 5K, so first place prizing $1,500.
Yep.
It's not bad, right?
Not bad for Lorcana, that's for sure.
$60 entry, you get 2 packs, kind of standard.
Then the week after that, it's going to be Atlanta for the 8K. I think every time they do it, it's at least a 10K. I've been to the last 2, I believe, either one or last one, I think. But it's always, I think it was a 13K last week, and then there was like a 3K the day after.
So they scale it. So the more people that come, the higher the pricing gets. And yeah, I mean, last time it was like 13K, and it started out as like an 8K. So it should creep up. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So another tournament that I do want to talk about is if you cannot make these in-person tournaments.
Yep.
Right? Not everyone can travel around for Lorcana. I don't know. I might travel with a puppy deck. We'll see. But there is an online tournament by the Glimminiers. They have a Discord tournament. It's really cool. You sign up. You get to play one time a week. You get your opponents on Discord. Entry is $5. It's really fun. You kind of do it on your own time. I think you can either do it webcam. You can do it the one that we're not supposed to name. And then the Pixelborn Connect.
Cool. Then in Dallas, we're going to have the Pro Play Summit, which is PPG, the guys that ran the DLCs, or I don't know. They're doing a 15K for Lorcana on Saturday. I know they're running a bunch of like feeder tournaments, so you get a bye in round 1, I think it is, which is super cool. Just super excited for people to be running tournaments outside of what we're normally doing. So 15K, first week of July, the week after Worlds. So that'll be super exciting. The metagame kind of should be solved at least a little bit.
Yeah, I would think so. And then I think this one, they're on their website. If you are looking for any of the qualifier tournaments, they have a map, which is really cool with all the qualifier tournaments. Just be careful when you're looking. You have to make sure you verify that's a Lorcana, because they do also have, One Piece and...
One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh! I think.
Yeah, so there are other types of tournaments.
And I think they're close to sold out, so if you plan on going to this July 4th, go ahead and book your ticket now.
Last thing before we go, I know that you wanted to talk about the Cross-continental showdown.
Yeah, Zan won the Cross-continental champion. Go NA 2 straight, even though last time doesn't really count.
Does it? It does. I think it does. But I think you want to talk about a mulligan, and while a lot of people were kind of talking about Moyen's mulligan Game 5,
right.
I know I was. I know that you want to talk about something completely different, where he got rid of cards. You want to talk about someone keeping cards. So we're going to talk about Zan's mulligan.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Zan's mulligan Game 3. In this game, he's on the play. It's currently 1-1. Like I said, Zan's on the play. He has a hand of Popsicle, Develop, Vision, Tamatoa Small, 2 Sharks, and Bell. So like the normal mulligan path in this deck is to look for turn 2 ramp.
I'm keeping 2. I think the commentators even said it. I'm keeping 2. I'm keeping Bell, Popsicle, putting 5 back, trying to get my TPO, trying to get my sale.
And I think this is like super intricate and really understanding the matchup. Zan's one of the best players in the world. And it goes like, I was thinking about this. I was like, man, do you want to mulligan Sharks? And sure enough, as soon as I'm thinking like, how would I mulligan this hand? Maybe you do just keep 2 drop ramp. He doesn't snap keep. He thinks about it, I think. But
Zan thinks about everything though, right?
Yeah, Zan's very methodical.
I think it was snap for him.
Yeah, but he keeps the 7-card hand, and I kind of want to talk about why. So against this green purple deck, the way you're going to end up losing is you end up having these be prepared stuck in your hand. Even how far I'll go, where on 2 they're able to snap it with a Ursula. Just grabbing your songs. The way you end up winning these games is by playing Sharks over and over again. There's only, I think, 2 or 3 Brunos in this list to answer your Sharks. Once you play Sharks, basically the game's over.
I think there were only 2 in his list. So I mean, like Shark, there's only 2 answers for Shark.
Yeah, I mean, they can like attack with genies and crabs and do it. There's other ways to get rid of it, but by then you've turned it sideways and it's already gotten you some advantage. And just the way he keeps, if you want to show the hand again, he ends up playing Develop on 1, finding the sale, and it just blows the game wide open. Basically, he wins from there. The majority of people are just wanting to play Popsicle Bell on turn 1, holding off the pressure against the green-purple deck, which I don't think is a bad play. But Zan just shows here like the next level thinking of having these Sharks in your hand. Even if you miss on 2, it's okay. You're going to develop and vision into these ramp spells and end up catching up against this green-purple deck.
Yeah, I think being able to keep Develop and Vision so that he could play Develop first, right? So typically, like I would have done it, I would have played Popsicle Bell, right? Especially against green purple, where okay, let's get a 3 strength character on the board, but he knew he had Visions if he didn't hit, right? So if he didn't hit something with Develop, which I mean he did, and the rest is history, but that's kind of that next level thinking of okay, we don't necessarily have to go just this one line. Like
absolutely,
I can make it win with another line, and keeping 2 Sharks and Tamatoa, who keeps 3 6-drops.
Right. But if you mulligan 1 Tamatoa and you draw Be Prepared, now your whole hand looks totally different, right?
And I think that's the key with that they're actions, right? So Develop and Visions were both actions.
Correct.
So the Ursula couldn't rip them. The Ursula couldn't rip anything. Which
they're
is
just
cool.
inkable bananas, basically. That's exactly what he wants them to be. And it's just, once again, like Zan over his course of play has blown my mind so many times. Things that I wouldn't even have thought of. And I think this just shows like how much depth there is to Lorcana that the layman people, everyone doesn't even see that people like Zan really on the next level do see.
Yeah, he just thinks about it so much. And I love being able to kind of pick your brain and you dive in deeper into it. Maybe if I make some puppy plays, maybe we can dive deep into those.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. He agreed on camera. We'll dive into top puppies. You heard it here. But I think that's just about all we got.
Well, if he's going to talk about puppies, that'll be it for the podcast.
Yeah, we're out. Okay, so stay on after. It'll be like an end credit. Maybe I'll talk about puppies at the end if you stay long enough. I won't, but I'll talk about puppies all day. If you comment on here, just want to talk about puppies, we can talk about it in the comment section for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got a Twitter that you could just direct message him. Please keep it off of our channel.
I do. Yeah. Just DM me. We'll talk puppies, all that good stuff. Well, that's it. That's all we got.
That's all we got. Thanks for coming out to our first
one.
Tales of the Meta.
Tales of the Meta with Shaft and Lemke. I think it's going to be fun. If you have any ideas for what y'all want to hear about next week, please just let us know. Any comments, feedback, all of that. And subscribe on the YouTube channel. And then also please share this. Share this to anybody that you think might could use this. And just remember, puppies are OP. Puppies will always win. Puppies beat a pro.
One time.
Cool.
Good night.
See you guys.